I am LaMarsha Lewis. Let's talk. Today's conversation, our commentary, we will be speaking about Lindsey Graham, who is the United States Senator, or one of the United States Senators from the state of South Carolina. He is basically Trump's puppet. He basically has sold his soul to Donald J. Trump, has no integrity, no morals, no values. He was even called the state of Georgia and spoke with one of the officials there trying to get valid votes thrown out because he was trying to push the conspiracy that Trump was pushing about a rigged election, trying to overturn the will of the people, the citizens of the state of Georgia. Lindsey Graham actually put in a call, but of course he's denied it. But the official said that it happened. He called him out. And last week, when they reconvened to do the electorals, Lindsey Graham gave a speech in which I'm going to play the clip to, and I'm also going to play the clip to where he had once said, whenever there is a presidential election, we will have no nominations for a Supreme Court justice. Of course, he was the chairman. He was the ringleader that pushed the Ram sham that got us Amy Coney Barrett, who replaced the late Justice Ruth Bader Carter. Lindsey Graham, I guess he seems to forget the things that comes out his mouth and that he's being recorded of the things that he says, that we're not supposed to hold him accountable for the things that come out. That proves what a hypocrite he is, for one. And another, he's a liar. Last week it was, enough is enough, count me out. And then just yesterday, the day before, 6 days later, he's going to accompany the man that incited the insurrection that took place at our nation's capital. Like, really? Like, and we saw last week where he was going through the airport, I guess, on his way home, where they said it was Trump supporter that was basically just yelling at him and calling him a piece of shit, in which he is. That part isn't a lie. Let's listen to what Lindsey said. Here you go. Lindsey Graham, Trump and we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it to end this way. Oh my God, I hate it. But today, all I can say is, count me out. Enough is enough. I tried to be helpful. Let's listen to Lindsey Graham.
Trump and we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it being this way. Oh my God, I hate it. From my point of view, he's been a consequential president. But today, first thing you'll see, all I can say is count me out. Enough is enough. I've tried to be helpful. But when this Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled 4-3 that they didn't violate the Constitution of Wisconsin, I agree with the 3, but I accept the 4. If Al Gore can accept 5-4 and he's not president, I can accept Wisconsin 4-3. Pennsylvania, it went to the Second Circuit. So much for all the judges being in Trump's pocket. They said, no, you're wrong. I accept the Pennsylvania Second Circuit that Trump's lawsuit wasn't right. Georgia, they said the Secretary of State took the law in his own hands. He changed the election laws unlawfully. A federal judge said, no, I accept the federal judge even though I don't agree with it. Fraud. They said there's 66,000 people in Georgia under 18 voted. How many people believe that? I asked, give me 10. And I had 1. They said 8,000 felons in prison in Arizona voted. Give me 10. I had gotten 1. Does that say there's problems in every election? I don't buy this. Enough's enough. We got to end it.
Now that was last Wednesday. And let me play this clip again.
The last year of a lame duck president, and if Ted Cruz or Donald Trump get to be president, they've all asked us not to confirm or take up a selection by President Obama. So if a vacancy occurs in their last year of their first term, guess what? You will use their words against them. I want you to use my words against me. If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination, and you could use my words against me, and you'd be absolutely right. We're setting a precedent here today, Republicans are, that in the last year, at least of a lame duck 8-year term, I would say it's going to be a 4-year term, that you're not going to fill a vacancy of the Supreme Court based on what we're doing here today. That's going to be the new rule. When y'all change the rules about appellate judges and district court judges to get your way, I thought it was a really abuse of power. And what you have done here is you've made the caucuses, the Republican and Democratic caucuses, are now not going to have to reach across the aisle when it comes to appellate judges and district court judges to get input from us, or we get input from you. So what does that mean? That we're going to pick the most hard-ass people we can find and dare somebody in the conference to vote against that person. You're going to have the most liberal members of your caucus pushing you to pick the most liberal judges because you don't need to have to reach across the aisle to get any of our input. And we'll do the same. So over time that you did.
Now, again, those are two videos where, one, he was talking about there became a need for a Supreme Court justice in the last term of a president, first term, that if an election cycle was going on, that the next president, whoever won that election, would get to do the nomination. We see that didn't take place because they did the RAM certification nomination, and they put Amy Coney Barrett. She now sits on the Supreme Court. But they gonna say because at that time, last week was 13 days. Now we actually a week away. It's not enough time to do an impeachment. This did not come as a surprise what Trump has done. No one just never would have thought this man would actually carry out a hit, an insurrection at our nation's capital on all our congressmen and women, the vice president, the speaker of the House. It wasn't planned to do in an impeachment within 13 days, now 7 days, but this man did an insurrection, a sedition. He had to be held accountable. You don't get to overlook that. You can't overlook a mob job at the incitement of the president. But that's what the Republican Party wants you and I, the American people, to basically just do what they have done, overlook it, not hold accountable. None of them have ever held this man accountable. They have been the enablers of him. That's because they all carry the same common trait. They hate people that don't look like them. In other words, people of color. It's about power, holding on to power and holding people that they see as beneath them. The man carried out an insurrection. 5 people died. A police officer died. A police officer just on Saturday took his own life because of what transpired. The insurrection at the nation's capital. But these Republicans supposed to want us to think unity and peace. That's their all of a sudden defense and a smooth transition of power. But yet y'all went along with this lie, that conspiracy, knowing that Joe Biden won fairly. And you didn't hold Trump accountable. This is what we get. And also, let me read this. Senator Lindsey Graham, who last week said he and President Trump had a hell of a journey, but it was time to count me out because enough is enough, is flying to Texas on Air Force One today, per the pool. And that's from a journalist that tweeted how last week it was count me out. We've had a hell of a journey, but enough is enough. But you flew to Texas with the criminal that incited an insurrection on the nation's capital, where you were, Lindsey Graham. You and your fellow colleagues the men and women, congressmen and women of our government. He incited an insurrection. An insurrection. It happened and played out in real time. This is not a movie. This is not a movie. This actually took place. So he must be held accountable. And you have no credibility, Lindsey Graham. Because last week is count you out. But yesterday you flew with the criminal. And you two talking about, well, let's have a transition, smooth transition. You didn't say that when you went along with the conspiracy, when you called the official in Georgia trying to get actual valid votes to be thrown out. You are part of this. And it's time to take a stand to do the right thing. Will you? I seriously doubt it. But it would be commendable of you. Honorable. If you even hold any honor in you, which I haven't seen since you decided to sell your soul to Donald Trump. What's time out? It's time out for the hypocrisy. It's time out for putting party over country. Just 3 days before the insurrection took place, I saw the senators, the representatives come in pairs of twos, holding their Bibles, raising your right hand. You promised that you would defend the Constitution against all foreign and domestic violence. You took an oath to defend the United States Constitution, or was your oath to Donald J. Trump? If you do the right thing, if all of our congressmen and women, if you do the right thing, which means to uphold the Constitution and not put party over the Constitution or put your own personal agendas, your own personal gain, an insurrection took place. A sedition took place at the command of Donald J. Trump. The president, the 45th president, and you still have this man in office. He should have been removed Wednesday, last week. Somebody has to do the right thing for once in their lives. Somebody other than the Democrats, other than the Speaker of the House, Republicans, it's time to do the right thing. I only hope you will. I am LaMarsha Lewis. Let's talk.